Welcome, welcome, welcome everyone to In the Loop Lupus Live with Lupus to give you amazing stories from lupus warriors. Today we have a lupus warrior um, that is going to come on and share her story with us, as well as give us some uplifting and encouraging words from her overcoming. But of course, before we do that, I have to do our little house rules. And those house rules um, come from our disclaimer. So let me do that real quick. So, the information in our answers provided during Lupus in Color videos and live events are not meant to be used as a substitute for professional medical advice. The information contained in any video or live event is not intended to recommend the self management of health problems or wellness. It is not intended to endorse or recommend any particular type of medical treatment. Should any attendee have any healthcare related questions, promptly call or consult your physician or healthcare provider. Persons accessing this information assume full responsibilities for the use of the information and understand and agree that Lupus in Color or its presenters are not responsible or liable for any claim, loss, or damage arising from the use of the information. So that's the little house rules that we have. We always want you to make sure that you're hearing about people's story, but we also want you to make sure that you are consulting with your doctor and not taking our advice as medical advice, because that's not what it is. So I want to let you guys know that we are live on Facebook, YouTube, and over on Instagram. So if you see me looking off to the side, I am still paying attention and we're still having a full conversation, but I'm managing all the different social media. So without further ado, I would like to bring up Miss Norlesha Rogers so that she can share her story with us and let you know how well she's doing beyond lupus. Let me bring her up to the stage. Hi, Norlesha.
Hi.
How are you today?
It's been a
Uh-oh.
while I've been on camera.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Um, I'm doing okay, better than some days. Today was the first time I was actually outside since Wednesday.
Oh wow, wow.
Yeah.
Tell us what tell us about a little bit about yourself, and then we're going to get into what's going on with you today. How about that? Tell us when you were diagnosed with lupus, what led to that diagnosis, and how you felt when you were diagnosed.
Okay. My name is Norlesha. Most of my friends and family call me Lisha. I'm born on a small, beautiful island of Anguilla.
Oh,
It's
nice.
a British territory. I was diagnosed with lupus officially in 2015. However, in 2014, I was told I have it,
Mm,
but they had recommended me to go see another doctor, which would have known as a
mm,
rheumatologist, to confirm the diagnosis. And me being stubborn didn't bother
right,
because I was like, I'm not gonna be paying $400 to see, you know. And what is this? I didn't take it serious the first time.
right, right, right.
Yeah. Um, how I got officially diagnosed is when I started to get extremely sick.
Mm,
Because the first major sign, I should say, I used to be married, by the way.
okay.
I woke up and I couldn't feel my legs.
Mm,
There was no feeling. And I mean, it's something I can't describe, but if anybody who's paralyzed tell me, "Oh, you don't know what it feels like to be paralyzed," I'm gonna say, "Yeah, I do," because I experienced it
right.
before. And I told my ex-husband, I said, "Oh my God, I cannot feel my legs." He said,
Mm,
"What do you mean by that?" I was like, "I can't feel my leg. I can't move." And he thought it was a joke.
mm,
And he pulled me to see if I was joking. And just when he pulled me, I just dropped on the floor.
wow.
Okay, long story short, Eventually, I ended up in a hospital. They didn't understand what was wrong. However, within this, I think it was the second day, I regained feeling. And they was thinking it had something to do with my nerves or whatever because they just didn't understand. And they were the one that told me now to go and seek, you know,
Right.
further professional help. Like the doctors they recommended, and I didn't go. Until now, I would say a year later, I started to get these rashes. I was getting sick. I was
Mhm.
blacking out and getting dizzy. And then my hair started to fall out.
Mm.
But at the time, I thought the hair falling out was because of the stress I was going through with my ex-husband.
Sure, sure.
And but then I started to get these huge rashes. Like it was not coming on my face, then in my hair. And the most scariest thing is when I touched my hair, it was coming out like it was
Mm.
scary. It's like watching those scary movies, and I was
Yeah.
like, "What's going on?" Like I was panicking,
Yeah.
and eventually I ended up seeing doctors. Um, Even though there's stories in between there, but let me just I don't want to keep nobody long and bored because I
No, you're
people will
fine. You're
say when
fine. I
I talk all over the place because I start from here and then skip from there and whatever. But when I go the first few doctors, the first thing they assumed they said I probably have HIV.
Mm.
And I was like, and when they said that, all I could think about what I'm gonna do if my ex-husband give me this. I'm gonna, like I was like just in a waiting room,
Mad.
shaking and and then when they came back, they said because the test they said it there's no sign, but they have to go deeper into it. And I had like I think it was like 3 4 days wait till then give me a confirmation that it wasn't. So then
Mm.
the next thing they did was send me to another doctor, and then he thought when he saw me, he put on his gloves and he thought I had some kind of fungus. And
Oh
his
Lord.
look, when he looked
Mm.
at me, it looked like he was disgust. Even
Right.
me was disgust of myself.
Right.
Like I was in so much pain with these scars, these rashes. Like it looks like when you fall, you start to heal. This black stuff comes on it. Like that's what it looks like. It was under my breast, my hair. As a matter of fact, by the time then I was wearing like a cap on my head because I
Mm.
had my hair was gone. It's all like patches and stuff. I actually have some before and after pictures
Really.
because I always say one day I will if I survive all of this, I will share my story, show my
Absolutely.
pictures and stuff.
Hmm.
And he said it's a skin fungus it looks like I had. And he said, I'm going to send you to a dermatologist. So, you know, this stuff that I'm talking about now is happening in Canada because I
Okay.
was living there. Um, and when I end up to this doctor, he checked me out and everything, and he said he gonna do a biopsy. And I said, "What do you mean you're gonna do a biopsy?" He said, "I'm just gonna remove a piece of your skin." And so in my head, I'm like, "You're gonna remove a piece of my skin? Am I gonna feel it? Like I'm
Right.
already in pain. How you gonna?" He's like, "Oh, don't worry about it." And he was so nice. I can't even remember his name. I have to look in my medical records to find his name. And he tried to tell me, like, "Don't worry. After this, we can definitely know what's wrong with you."
Mm.
And which he ended up doing because I would say 2 weeks later,
Hmm.
I get a call to come in, and I was nervous like shit.
Right.
Then he asked me the worst question he asked me was the first question I should say, Norlesha, and he sit on his stool and he's staring. He's like, "You have anyone in your family with cancer?" And I was like, "I have cancer." He's like, "No, no, no, I'm just asking." Like I started panicking. So I was like, "Shit, I just lost an aunt like few years back from cancer," and I'm like thinking like. And then he started to say stuff about well, all these medical things about something with cells was low. We saw this and that, blah 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 that was in the blood work. But then when they checked the biopsy, whatever test, And he
Mm.
starts using these things about A and N and this and that and that. And I can't, up to this day, I can't help you with certain things. But when the doctors talk, I'm familiar with some of the things they say.
Right.
And that's when he said, "You." So we've discovered you have. He said a long word symptomatic, and I was like,
Mhm.
"Wait, what? What's that?" He said lupus, and I was like, "Why does that name sound familiar?" And I keep
Mm.
thinking, like, where did I hear that from? And he was like, "But no worries, you're gonna be fine." And he said, "We're gonna give you this." Then he started talking about these pills.
Mm.
And I remember the first time there was two medication. It was a liquid he gave me, and it was for me to put on my scalp and the skin area. And then there was these tablets. At the time, I didn't know it as prednisone. I knew it as steroids. Because when he said it to me, steroids, I was thinking, oh my God, am I gonna get all big and bulky and muscular?
Right.
And he started to laugh and said, no, that's not gonna happen. Like he said,
Right.
well, there are some few side effects, but you're not gonna experience it because you're gonna be on this for just 2 weeks. And he
Mm.
started to explain to me what it would be like. And I said, you gotta write that down on paper because I'm gonna forget. He said, don't worry, the pharmacist will explain.
Right.
Now, when I took those, I would say probably maybe the fourth day, somewhere in the almost the ending of the week, I started to feel good, and I
Mm.
was like, okay, I'm feeling good. Like, oh my God, I can walk better. I can do this. I can do that. I said, well, okay. And then the stuff on my skin was healing, but it took like it wasn't getting worse basically, and the pain that I was experiencing it went away. Like it was
Mm.
slowly going away.
Right.
Then eventually I had so much faith in whatever, and just like that, it was like, okay, my hair grew back. But then when my hair grew back, it didn't grow back the same texture. It grew
Right.
back like thin, and it was like it was straight basically.
Right.
To the point where I remember, because I had family back on my island, when they saw that I lost my hair, and then when they saw it growing back, they was like, "Why you go put straight in your hair? Your hair so thin." And I was like, "I'm put straight in my hair. This is how it grew back." And I
Right.
think a lot of people didn't believe me, and I was like, "I don't know what it is. I didn't put no straight." And it kept growing back, and it started growing, and then it was going back extra fast. And then
Mm.
all of a sudden, they became like wavy, like curly, like
Mm.
like Indian looking.
Mhm.
And to the point where I had aunts that said to me, one of my favorite aunts, "Hi, Auntie Mara, if you're looking." And she said to me, "Oh, all of my sis, your mom, she was the only sibling with the best hair. Her hair was the longest, so it's no surprise that your hair grew back, stuff like that."
Right. Right.
Okay, then I have a grandma who raised me, by the way. She raised
Mhm.
me. um, she took in sick. And obviously, I was in Canada and I couldn't take care of her while I was there. So, because I wasn't having I was always having problems in my relationship, I went back to Canada. I mean, back to Angola to help take care of her. And when I did, I didn't even know what it was at the time.
Mhm.
Now I'm past it. I know what it was.
Right.
But the symptom of what I was experiencing was coming back. And not only that, I after separating from my husband, I got involved with a relationship that became extremely toxic. And
Mm.
then I was taking care of my grandma at the same time. And when she was getting basically when got bedridden, one doctor, she said to me, Dr. Josh, hi George. She said, sweetheart, um, I know you love your grandma, but
Mm.
I could tell just looking at you, something is wrong with you. You look sick too, as well. And you can't do this alone. You have to put her in a home. And I was like, she doesn't want to go in a home. And I would do anything because she raised me. And oh my God, it was like, I just didn't want to hurt her feelings. It's like leaving a little puppy alone. Like, you don't want to leave the little puppy alone because, especially when they go start to cry. And my grandma didn't want to go in a home.
Yeah.
And then eventually, after the doctor talked to my grandma, she said to me, Norlesha, if you're gonna put me in a home, don't put me in a one such and such. Put me in a one here. And I was like,
Okay.
oh, okay.
Yeah.
And we were making jokes on the way to the home. And she said, so you're gonna come check for me when you come back from Canada. You're gonna cook for me. And I was like, yeah. And that was a plan. Here I am thinking my grandma should be set. When I come, I take her to home. So I spend time with her at her bedroom. And then when I'm leaving, I put her back in the home. So that was the plan. And
Mhm.
out of nowhere, she just didn't last long in the home. Like within a
Mhm.
week, she just started going down.
Oh,
And I couldn't
declining. Yeah.
believe it. And just like that, it was like
Yeah. That's rough.
she went like,
Yeah.
and she was like the best thing ever. And during that time, I wasn't close to my mom. Not all of my siblings. My
Mm.
dad was not close to him either because I just didn't like how I was a granddaughter and here I am doing these stuff. And
Yeah.
then I always had to depend on the guy I was with, the boyfriend I had at the time, to help me out while I'm trying to get rid of him too, like because he was
Yeah.
really on me, like. And then she went. So
How
and
did how did that make you feel sicker? I'm sure because the stress of losing
yes, this
the
is now
woman.
when
Yeah.
the worst, like one of the worst. I shouldn't say that one of the worst, because last year was
No.
the worst.
Mm.
I never seen it coming. I had never knew it exists. Last year would have been the worst.
Mm.
However, I was talking about the fresh part when I started to get it.
I got you.
And my major flare ups basically was that the second part with my grandma, and I was not wanting to go back to my house because we were separated, and I already moved on to got involved with a friend who I shouldn't have. I should have just remained friends because the relationship was toxic. It was like the jealous type, obsessed, controlling, that kind of way, and um, it was hard to get out of it. And then even after burying my grandma and trying to make that relationship work because
Mhm.
I don't know how to explain it, but yeah, I was just one
So
of those women that used to watch Lifetime Network with my grandma. And when I
mhm.
see these women go back to their husbands or their exes that have, do whatever to them, and I'd be like, oh my gosh, she's so stupid. Like, why she do this and why, like,
Right,
And
right.
then when I end up in a situation similar, it's
Yeah.
like, it was so hard because I love his kids, I love his mom, I love the dad, and then there was things that happened behind closed doors where the public, well, some of the public didn't know because some people witnessed stuff. So it was
Mhm.
like, you know, and then all of that like caused the whole stress and everything, the frustration, which, there's a saying my grandma said everything happened for a reason because at the time, me and my mom wasn't at the close and stuff. I was just mad at her, like, you
Mhm.
know, why you don't love me? Why it wasn't like a mom to me and stuff like that. Then eventually she just straight up tell me, what happened, how her life was when she was young, and I come to understand. I never hated her. I don't care what she did. My whole point is I just want to be there. When everybody's hugging their mom and bragging about their mom, I want to do that. Because my grandma's dead and I don't have a mom to say,
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
And then when I was going through this situation with my ex, it was like so hard for a lot of people to believe because when they see us in public, they'll be like, but y'all so cute together, y'all this together, but they didn't really know till certain family witness stuff.
Right.
And I thought everything was going well, everything was great with my mom, and then I started to get closer to all my siblings and stuff. And then I followed up with my dad.
Mm.
And then that there was the worst because
Mm.
the things my dad said. Because when I said to him, I have, I said, Dad, you ever heard of something called lupus? He's like, Why? How? And I say, well, I've been diagnosed with it and I'm not well. He's like, oh, well, everybody got to die.
Oh
And
Lord. Oh my goodness.
yeah, so when he said that, I remember like, it was,
Right. That was
I
something
don't
that
know
just
how to explain it,
like a shot
but
in the heart.
yeah.
Yes. Oh my
And
gosh.
then the boyfriend that I wanted to like get away from, all of a sudden, his
Mm,
hugs all of a sudden felt good, you know?
yeah.
And then turns out, no, my dad didn't want me in the house. And I said, uh, my grandma left her room for me. What do you mean? And she said, her room is mine now. And then he said to me, and where she used to testify to that.
Mm,
And when he said that, it was like,
mm,
I said, oh my God, daddy, like, I'm your daughter. Like, I'm your
right.
first child. Like, you just talk to me like you don't love me. Like,
Yeah.
no, I don't. And I was like, and I remember my
Wow.
nieces and my ex boyfriend was there. I was like, what the? But then I thinking, you know what? He's mad because my dad, he's posted. He just don't care. But that was then.
Hmm.
That was then. Sorry. That's
Oh,
actually my timer to take my medication because I always will forget.
you're fine.
Which I did take it because I said in case. But
There you
yeah.
go.
I always gotta keep that timing,
Right. Right. For later
on
on.
timer. So during that time I was going through that and then I ended up moving with this ex that I was trying to get thing and then things just got worse. But
Yeah.
eventually, after being hospitalized so many times and then police and everything got involved, I end up then that he move away and then there was major hurricane
Mm,
that affected our island really bad.
mm-hmm.
Hurricane Omar, and I was running out of medication
Mm,
that the island
right.
doesn't have.
Mm,
And I was okay because the doctors that was giving me steroids, they was giving it to me and I was like feeling good and stuff. But
yeah.
I know all of a sudden I was getting extra symptoms that I'm not accustomed to.
Mm,
So I would be like, I had an issue with my leg. I'd be using crutches for a bit. And then that was never the case like before. Like I never used to be on crutches all the time. And and then I had a job too. I ended up getting a job in a school with teaching a kid with autism,
mm-hmm.
and it's like every time I go home for lunch
Hmm.
and I take my meds and I will pass out, like fall
Oh
asleep.
wow.
Yeah. Sometimes I will wake up in time to return to school, and other times I'll pass straight through. And when I wake up, my heart is skipping a beat because I seen it's like 3:30 or 4 o'clock. And I
Wow.
would like, then when I go to check, the principal, some teacher were like, where you like, and I'll be like, oh my God. And at the time, it was embarrassing. I didn't want to say anything. Then eventually, I opened up about it to them,
Right.
and I said it because they, they were saying they thought I was getting sick because of the stress the relationship I was in. But what I didn't know is I had this condition.
Right. Right.
Then I started to develop these lumps on my legs, started coming out. Like
Mhm.
when I say lumps, like I should say like big as golf. Some of them be big like golf ball.
Wow.
And it used to be so painful that I
Mm,
couldn't wear anything tight,
mm.
and it'd be red. So I would take pictures. You know what it used to look like? Like bee stings, like
Oh
like
wow.
that. The
Really?
wasp will come up like, and you
Yeah.
will see it if you know. And eventually, when I did, I still used to get hospitalized back and forth, now hospital, and then I started to get frustrated
Right.
and scared because I never knew if I would have died from the illness or if I would have died from the relationship.
Right. One.
But
One or
fast,
the other at this point. Yeah.
yeah. So fast forward everything. When that relationship was done with and I was safe and everything, and I went back to Canada. And when I got there, they start. I explained to them my situations because first I used to write notes down because they had told me to take stuff down because, every time you go to the doctor, you got all these problems. But then
Mm.
when you go to the doctor, it's like you want to remember certain things. And when you leave, you're like, oh shoot, I forgot to ask them why
Right.
is it. So I would write down stuff, and few of those stuff was the sleeping part
Mm.
and forgetting. Like when I say forgetting, I talking like couldn't remember to spell my name. Like
Wow.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then imagine me, I'm on a like writing on the board and then it's
Mm.
like, wait, how do you spell Thursday?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
in your like what the hell is going on? Like,
Right. Yeah.
and it's I don't know how to explain it. But
No, you
and
explained it
then
perfectly. Perfectly. I've been through that myself, so I
yeah.
understand.
And then there was another thing I took down is when I noticed I go beach. I always used to go beach, and when I come back, I'd be so tired, and my
Mm.
body used to feel like my dad just woke me. Because
Mm.
I know that feeling because my dad used to beat us for everything,
Right.
you know.
Right.
Um, and then I would get these weird rashes, like spotted stuff, and then it's like when you touch it, it hurts.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
I used to take pictures of them so I could show my doctor because sometimes by the time you go to the doctor, they're gone,
Right.
So, and then I told them, and at the time too, I started to get this weird thing on my face. At the time, I
Mhm.
didn't know it called the butterfly rash.
Yes,
I
yeah.
just know I had the same thing that I saw my grandma had before,
Wow.
and that's a secret my grandma took to her grave,
I see that. Now
which her nieces told me after. Because when I tried to discover, uh, investigate it more when things got bad for me, I started calling up people. I called my mom. My mom was like, she don't know nobody. She don't tell nobody her business. And
Mhm.
and my mom is still like that. If
Yeah,
I
yeah.
ask my mom if there's blood pressure in her family or something, she will like, that's her business. That's just that's how my mom be. You could tell my mom a secret. She ain't telling
She's gonna
nobody.
yeah, she's gonna keep it, right?
Yeah, you won't hear it from her. Like period.
Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
She would know something and you telling it to her. She like, really? Oh, okay.
Wow.
Like that how she was.
Wow.
Which I don't mind it, but it it was it used to make me upset though, because I felt at the time she didn't care. Then I called my big sister, who is a nurse, and to ask her. And she couldn't really help me much with it because she said she had the same experience with mom. Like when she, had her own situation. She asked my mom, our mother. She never is. She don't know what, whatever. So mother side of the family is kind of complicated.
Yeah, yeah.
Like I said, my grandma raised me. So however, when I investigate my dad's side now, and at the
Mhm.
time me and my dad wasn't talking,
Right.
I reached out to his cousins and my grandma's sister kids, and then one of them, they're from St. Kitts, another Caribbean. She said, no, Auntie Jessie used to have lupus. And I was like, no.
What?
She's like, yeah, she used to get sick so much. She always in the hospital. And I was like, what? And they
Wow.
were like, yeah, it's running the family. And I was like,
Wow.
okay, who? And she said, there's family in Angola too you have that have lupus. And I was like, what the heck? Why didn't I know about this? You
Mm.
know? Like
Right.
I was so uneducated about it that to the point where when the first time I heard about it, by the second time when I really got more into it, I thought when I type it in, I thought like my hands gonna fall off, like like
Yeah.
leprosy. Basically, that came
Yeah.
to my mind. Like
Yep.
that's what's gonna happen.
Yeah.
And then I started to dig more into it, like shit. And then
Mhm.
not only that, the reason why I wasn't even scared of it much at the beginning, I remember when I was getting buying some funeral clothes for my nieces in a store, and I was telling this lady the situation, and she said, because I was on crutches, because she wanted to know why you so young, what's wrong? I don't
Yeah.
see no, And I said to her, and then she go, oh, that's just arthritis. I got lupus too. And I was like, oh, okay. And I was
Okay.
like, this is what my grandma go through. This is arthritis. Oh, okay. So now and then I'm gonna get this. This is what I thought.
Right.
My goodness. And let me tell
Mm.
you, I think I experienced. I really can't judge for everybody else because I
Right.
have. There was another girl. She was actually the first one to reach out to me from my
Sure.
island.
Okay.
Um, Her name is Tashana. She asked me about the whole lupus. She heard I have it and stuff, and I'm thinking, how the hell she know that? Like, and I just like I was quite interested to hear what she had to say.
Mhm.
But then when I got to know her, the symptoms I was having, she wasn't experiencing it because she could go in the sun.
Okay.
And the reason why I said that is because when I was telling the doctors in Canada about what I have experienced, they said to me, oh, with lupus, you can't be in the sun for long. And I look at it, I was like, wait, what do you mean I can't be in the sun for long? And then they start talking about explaining. And I
Mhm.
was like, but I'm from the Caribbean. That's crazy.
How you expect me to
And
stay
I
out the
like,
sun?
yeah. And then like when she told it to me at the time, it was
Mhm.
sensitive for me. So I started to cry. And
Sure.
I was like trying to think on, well, how am I gonna enjoy life? How am I gonna live? Like, so I gotta be in a house. Like, and I started to think like, okay, my island don't have big malls like Canada where you could just go in a mall and spend your whole day there, go to the theater, do this. I gotta go outside. If I used to love the beach, still
Right.
love the beach. I should just like going out there with my nieces and picnic, make sandwiches, barbecue, do something, go in the
Right.
water,
Right.
get messy in the sand and stuff. She's telling me I can't be in the sun for long. Then she
Mm.
started telling me to wear hats and wear umbrella to avoid such and such, activating it or something that she said to me. And I was like, okay, all right. So when I went back home to Angola, all of a
Mhm.
sudden, I'm wearing an umbrella. And then the kids in the school, because this would be primary school, they were like, Teacher Norlesha, it's not raining. Why are you using an umbrella? And I'm like, oh my God, these kids. Like,
Right.
and I'm gonna lie, it was quite embarrassing at first too,
Sure.
because it was like, here I am with an umbrella. And then one time I went to a parade thing for kids,
Mhm.
and it's Jamaica. Well, she's from Jamaica, and she said to me, "What happened? You don't want to get black?" And I was like, "Huh?" And I
That's
said,
yeah.
"What do you mean? I am black?" And she's like, and then at the time, another teacher who was with me actually was a parent because she also a officer, by the way, and she said to me, you know, she mean by that she trying to stay like you're trying to stay your color, like you don't want to
Right.
get. And I was like, who cares if I that was my
Right.
if I didn't really care about that, I would have, when I'm
Stayed
not
inside.
like going
Yeah.
beach all the time. That wasn't my concern. But I
Right.
didn't care to explain. I was just shocked to hear her ask me a question, like whatever.
Right.
But anyhow, then I end up on new medications
Mm.
because all of a sudden I start having vomiting. Like I be
Mm.
vomiting all the time.
Wow.
And to the point that I even had got pregnant and didn't even know because
Mm.
a customer vomiting, and stuff. And um that would be the I didn't tell you about my ex-husband first, my first miscarriage. Matter of fact, it wasn't. It was something that up to this day I don't understand because, as I can remember, I don't remember exact words, but what the doctor said, out of his 20 something years of
Mhm.
working, he never seen a patient who survived with a dead fetus in them. Like I had a dead fetus
Oh,
and
wow.
didn't know. Like
So you
and
so
I remember
so
being like
so
confused about it.
yeah, so
Like
you miscarried and didn't even realize it?
like there was a baby in there and I was having normal periods and didn't know I was expecting anything. Like
Wow.
and this would have been with my ex husband. And then when I was with the boyfriend who was the toxic the relationship, I think because of the fights and violence, now I think it because of that, when I did got pregnant in that relationship, I end up that ended up going too because the night when an incident happened, the next day I was sick. I thought like I had cramps, and then that's when they say you're going through a miscarriage,
Mm.
and at that it I don't know at the time it just didn't I was angry, put it that
Sure.
way. I wasn't
Sure.
emotional about it. I wasn't like
Sure.
yeah. So
I mean,
anyhow,
your body was going through so much anyway because you were dealing with the lupus, but then you had all of that stress on
I
you.
can't hear you.
Uh-oh, can you hear me now? Can
Yeah,
you hear me? Okay, but
yeah,
you had all that stress on you from the lupus, your grandma, the toxic relationship. Your body was going through so many different things for you to have to try and carry a baby at that point. It just probably your body just couldn't handle it.
yeah, probably. But
Ha-
my grandma would say with God, I do things for a reason.
What do you
So
think? What do you think the reason was for all of that traumatic things that went through your life? What do you feel like the reason was for that?
um with the miscarriages,
Yeah, with everything. With everything, how did it bring you to where you are today?
well, it it took a lot because to be honest, I was broken. I was a mess.
Yeah.
I was I not to get too personal, but
Right, right.
I felt lonely.
Yeah,
I was scared,
sure.
like I had nobody.
Mhm.
It was like, and then there was this guy I used to look up to who was comforting me because he was going through his stuff. And
Right.
it's like, and then I felt so stupid after for getting myself involved with that person. But it was like, no, that's what you call a rebound. However, it was like feelings had developed because it was like I thought this person I cared. I mean, at that moment, they healed me. I'm not gonna lie, and I thank them for that.
Right.
But then it still bothers me because it's like he was like a mentor to me, for me, and I used to always look up to him, asking questions because he's really intelligent,
Mhm.
and it took a bit for it to like for me to heal. I basically healed from that sense silently,
Right.
and until I meet my hero, who I'm currently with,
Okay.
because I
So was
always
he able so when you went through everything else and now you're to a point where you're able to talk to someone else and help to
yeah.
get someone else in your life, how did you go about doing that? Like, was it a hard
I feel like
it was hard to trust,
I
right?
to be honest, this relationship I in, I mean, he could tell you, but he it let me tell you, this is so weird. During my toxic relationship, I was escaping,
Mhm.
run, jump through a window, run from my apartment, scared, run down the beach in just booty shorts, underwear, and a vest, scared from running from this person because where I was staying, he doesn't live there. I just basically I moved on, and I went hide. And when I hid, there was this person there, but so scared I didn't really pay attention until my ex asked the person, "Did you see a girl run on this side?" And he said, "No, I didn't." So my ex went the other direction. And when I thought it was safe to come back out, I went, then I get back into the house and hid and call, where I had to call
Right, right,
for
right.
help. Then I would say, yeah, a year, 2 years later, 2 years later,
Mhm.
this person I'm currently with, he took me on a date, and we just went out and we sat and chat. And he held my hand. We walked to that same beach area. And he
Oh,
said, "Do you remember the spot?" And I said, "What do you mean if I remember the spot?
right.
This is Island Harbor." And he's like, "You don't remember me for real?" And I was like, "Should
Wow.
I?" And then I said, then he said, "You don't remember running down here and you just had on?" And I was like, "No
Wow.
way." And I remember screaming, like, "What the hell? How is this is like it
Wow.
was to this day I can't really get my head around it because if there was a ghost there, I wouldn't have known there was a ghost or him or anything. It just that how scared I was the night. Like
Wow. But
and
the way that that kind of surfaced, that's crazy.
yeah. And the thing about it is I used to see this guy in the gym,
Mhm.
and he used to make jokes to me like, "Look at you. You say you went in the bathroom and you throw water on yourself and say you had a workout like you work out." Like tease me like that.
Right,
So he
right.
was that person always used to make me laugh. So, and then when I got involved with him, which I like being with guys that make me laugh too. I don't like seriousness and stuff like, well, when you're supposed to, but anybody who could come around me, play with me, and have fun and cheer me up, I like
Right.
that. And he was like that. And then when I had a flare up in my leg, it was just me and my niece now he was at a different home,
Mhm.
uh, and I was on my crutches. And I said, my niece, she said I was cook like mac and cheese and stuff. And at the time, I was never a fan of mac and cheese, but
Right, right.
she would try to do her little thing and bring them to me and stuff, my little sweetheart. People thought she was my daughter because, I took over. That my grandma used to raise her, I should say. But she would tell me to keep her away. She told me to please don't leave her Jenny
Aw,
alone, check into Jenny first. So I just felt like, oh gosh, now I call her name.
nobody knew.
So, because I mean, I have a lot of nieces, but I'm just talking about the ones that,
Yeah,
they didn't
yeah,
have their mother to take care of them. Like,
sure.
where I'm like, I mean, now that I'm big, now the mother's reaching out to them, but,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know, anyhow, so he came by, and that was the first time in my life I ever had spaghetti with fish.
Oh, wow.
Normally, I
I
normally
love
I
that.
raise up. I either raise up with rice,
Mhm.
peas and rice, which is our local dish, peas and rice and fish, or fungi, which is
Right.
cornmeal and
Mhm.
fish, or what you call it, Johnny cake. Like
Okay.
fried. I don't know how to explain it, but it's flour fried up and
Yeah.
stuff. Either to bake or fried. That's how we used to eat the fish. So he was the first person I ever like spaghetti with fish,
Right,
which
right.
was delicious.
It
So he
is. It is
stayed.
very good.
It was because I did not believe he cooked it either at the time. It was
Right.
just so the way he had it, and I was just like, yeah, sure. And he also bring it in a like a restaurant kind of dish, like.
Oh, the
So I
tin.
didn't believe that he made it.
Yeah,
No,
yeah.
I didn't. At the time, I didn't. So
Yeah.
that's why it's not good to judge people.
Very
Because then
true.
I come to learn why he had those dishes and how he do his stuff. Because I learned it afterwards. Not only that, seeing his social media page, how he like to post his stuff and whatever, and he loves to cook, and I love to cook too. Anyhow, so when I had to use the bathroom, I was struggling to get out the the bed, and he helped me. And then when he's coming in, he's like, and I'm like, oh wait, then my niece is by the bathroom door, and he's trying to help me pull off my stuff. And at the time, I was on my period,
Right.
and I was like, oh, this is embarrassing. He's like, oh, stop running. I'm gonna close my eyes. And he's like, I took care of my grandma when she was sick. So when he said that, I was like, oh, you did? And he's like, yeah, I told you. And I was like, oh, I don't remember you telling me that, And so while I down the toilet, and I'm sitting, and I was just like, and I was like, you're so nice to me. Why? And I said, and I explained to him the situation I went through. He's like, yeah, I know, I heard. And I was like, but
Mhm.
this is me. He's like, I don't care. I was like, are you single? He's like, not anymore. I was like, are you gay? You're like, and he's like, I said, so you don't have a woman? He's like, no. I like, uh, can you be my man? And he looked at me like laughing, and my niece is there laughing. And she's like, oh my God, Auntie, what are you doing? I was like, and he's laughing. I was like,
Right.
and he's like, well, I would love to be your man. That's how he said it. And I was like, I'm serious. So
Wow.
and I was teasing it out. I said, "Yo, I put my hands down first.
Right,
You make that move." He's like, "Yeah, I just always like you." He said, "I reached out to you years ago on social media on Facebook, and you never answered me." So when he told me, and I was like, "Whoa!" And I said, "Stalker." I said, I would not reach out to you. I said, at the time I was married, and I never used to be on Facebook that often then
right.
either, not check my messages often. So I was like, it's just so surreal how
Yeah,
everything
no,
happened.
but it's just like
It's
what your grandmother used to tell you, that everything happens for a reason, and you went
Yeah,
through
that's why
everything
it's
that you had to
like
go
I
through
said,
to get there.
maybe he's the one. I will hope for it, but I don't know what's in store for me.
Yeah,
However, he's seen the worst
right. And he
for
stayed
me.
by you.
And yeah, and I thought he would have leave me. Like I still, even with the scars on my body, I'm now really insecure
Sure, sure.
because during the pandemic,
Hmm.
then that's the worst. I think COVID was everybody, well, most people nightmares because some people prosper from COVID, and
Hmm.
some people it was like they downfall.
Right.
And that was my thing. Like I've seen, when people tell you certain amount of money in that's a lot or whatever.
Right.
And when I looked at him, I would say, I've seen this amount of money just like I've been there.
Yeah.
Like I had this and now I'm to this. And I only have the bank statements to prove it and the minuses, and hospitals and medications and what's not. But right when the COVID was out in China, when I was talking about it on the news, obviously nobody was taking it serious. I just thinking, oh, that's China stuff, blah. Yeah, Chinese people this, Chinese people that. That was everybody thought. And me now experienced this type of sickness that I never had before. So I hear me going, and at this time too, I was doing this new treatment, and I was doing pretty good because I was working out. I had a personal trainer back in Anguilla. I was doing so freaking good till I started getting sick again. And then the doctor, they were talking to me. They said to me. This would have been my Canadian doctor, and he said, Norlesha, you can't stress when you with this condition. I was like, I'm not stressing. I'm happy. I'm in love. I mean, they were like, no, not that type of stress. They said, you go to the gym, and I cut him off, and I said, wait, you guys telling me to stay active. And that's what I did, because I got obsessed with the gym. And I was like gym, by the way, since I was young. And I remember the first gym I ever been on my island was K-Max Fitness Center.
Mhm.
And yeah, but anyhow, and I couldn't understand why is it too much of the gym was a problem, But I guess for some people, they said, which would have been me, it was a problem because I'll be good. I go gym, then I'll get sick, fevers and stuff. Can't walk, can't heal, and by the time I'm ready to walk, I gotta start all over again.
Mm.
I felt like I wasn't getting nowhere.
Right.
So during that time when I went off to Canada, it would have been 2019, I believe it was. Can't remember exactly, but I could be wrong with the years. But then my boyfriend came up there to meet me, and we we were sick. We got sick together with the flu, and
Mm.
he got better,
Mm.
and then I got sick. Then when I started to get better, he got sick again.
Oh my
So there was
goodness.
this bouncing back thing, and then we had to cancel off, like not cancel it, but change the date.
Right.
So finally, we went. We went. I go to the doctor. They gave me my whatever these antibiotics and whatever, and tell me to go take the flu shot and what's not. And I started to feel better within maybe, I would say, the fifth day, because even after the flu shot, I got worse. And we hit the airport, got on a plane. We supposed to spend the night, well, we did, in St. Martin, which is a
Mhm.
island next to Anguilla. And all I can tell you, by the time I got off the plane to get to the hotel with him, I
Mhm.
can't even remember when we got there. 'Cause I got extremely sick,
Mm.
and this would have been like the ending of the it was like November. And then even though I got the strength to go back
Right.
Anguilla the next day, I still wasn't fully well. But I pushed it to go to work. And when I went to work, it got worse again, to the point where my boyfriend shook me up from my sleep, and he said, "You have a high fever." And he's
Oh
like, "I'll
wow.
take you to the hospital." And I was so weak because I don't like going to the hospitals, and not, trying to push him like not to take me, but he lifted me up and took me in a car, and then it kept me,
Mm.
and which was oh, and
Whew.
then I must have stayed there for like, I got better maybe. I think I was there for like 3 weeks, I believe,
Wow.
2 weeks or so,
So did you
and
have
then,
COVID?
huh?
Did you have COVID or
This
was it?
this the thing. At the time, COVID wasn't big yet. It was
Mhm.
out there, but it wasn't big.
Right.
And by the time 2020 hit, I would say somewhere, I think, when was it? I think it was 2020, I believe. Yeah, I gotta check my journal also, because I don't think I have it right. But somewhere along the line, when it really got big, and then borders got shut and stuff, and they started talking about the symptoms, I looked at my boyfriend and I said, "Yo, I think we had COVID, and we just didn't know." And then people were like, "Oh no, you didn't have COVID, because if you did, and if people would have had it, or you'd be dead." And I even tell one of the doctors on the island, I said, "Doc, I think I had COVID." And he like, "Nah, I don't think." I was like, but I still, like, I had this reason that didn't, it still was there. And then when I went in the hospital, they treat me for whatever, but I wasn't fully well. And back there in January, when I got discharged, the plan was to get ready to go back to Canada, but I couldn't.
You
But
still
I couldn't go back to Canada because then the borders got thing. And no, it wasn't yet. I think what happened is that the flight had they wasn't coming into St. Martin or some situation. And then that's when I started to panic because I was like, oh my God, because I needed to go to Canada to see my doctor to see get my normal treatments and stuff.
Right.
And just like that, things went downhill for me.
Mm.
Like I was never getting better. I started getting worse. Then I had a chronic cough. Then they started talking about vaccine. Then I was so nervous, scared, didn't know whether or not to take it because you hearing all the rumors and stuff. And I was waiting on the doctors in Canada to give the yes or the no. And they keep saying, wait, they're doing this, they wait, doing this. Like, and there was this, and then my boyfriend said to me, listen, I ain't taking that vaccine unless you taking it. If the doctor tells you to take it, then I'm gonna take it. If they tell you no, I'm not taking it.
Right.
And I was like, okay. And when they did give me the yes, and they
Hmm.
gave me the warnings and what to look out for, and I was like, okay. And I went and take my first vaccine. And all I could tell you, when I got home, my boyfriend had to wake me up to see if I was alive.
Oh my God.
Because I was knocked out. Like
Yeah.
I had this bad headache and I fell asleep. Like it felt like almost like drained. Because even when I woke up, I felt heavy, like I can't come out of the bed, you
Yeah.
know? And
Yeah.
I just figured maybe that's the side effect or something. I don't know. But he wasn't experiencing it. But then he was saying, you got lupus. This could be the
Right.
case.
Right.
Then they start talking about the second shot. And
All the shots. Oh my gosh.
yeah.
Yeah.
And then I was like, I had the lumps that came back out on my skin.
Mm.
So I was like, okay, I'm getting another flare up. And I said, we have to find a way to get to, what you call it, back to Canada. But it
Right.
was like, they said, you need this and that. Like, there was the things was really strict and crazy and stressful.
Yeah.
And then to the point where all of a sudden, after my second shot, no, I'm not blaming the vaccine. Okay, I'm not saying COVID vaccine give me anything,
Right.
but I
Right.
could tell you this: after getting these stuff, I had extra,
Oh,
all
sure.
kind of ridiculous symptoms happening to me that I
Sure.
never experienced, or I had experienced it, but it got worse
Sure. And I
because
think I think that's mainly because um, any type of vaccine exasperates everything with lupus, and then the side effects of COVID itself are autoimmune responses. So you were getting it double, triple time.
yeah,
That had to
but
be so difficult to handle.
yeah, until I was hospitalized again back. This was in Anguilla to the point where I was there for a while, and I can remember when I got the cancer scare again when they said uh you may need to do a, what do you call it, a
Oh, bone marrow transplant.
bone, yeah. And I was like, oh, okay. And then when I asked my sister, because she's a nurse, and I said, what is a bone marrow? And she goes, oh, it'll just, do this and that. But she make it sound, and
Easy.
I was relaxed
Yeah.
until I had a friend who's a lawyer. And they explain what it is, and oh, that's gonna be painful. Why you need that? And I was like, it said they have to test to go deep because something was under there was something, I what it called. Anyways, I can't remember what it's called. But it was getting this type of reading, and they wanted to do that. However, they would have had to send me to St. Martin to do it, and the borders, there was a situation with the borders or whatever, and then eventually they will give me some kind of drug, and the doctor was also communicating, 'cause they reach out to my doctor in Canada or whatever and stuff, even though there was no my medication and treatments on my island. I was still given other alternatives like to hold me. But eventually, fast forward all of that, when I did manage to get strength, uh, most wasn't wheelchair and stuff and using crutches. And my boyfriend currently, who helped me, heal me and everything. Then we do that all that tests and whatever to fly out of Anguilla, uh, fly from Anguilla to St. Martin. From St. Martin, I had to fly to because I used to catch the WestJet. They wasn't flying, so I ended up had to using an airline that had to go to America, and then I had to spin in America to go over to Canada. And I
Wow.
remember because I was in a wheelchair, their customs was like, "Why are you in a wheelchair? What's wrong with your foot?" And I said, "I could show it to you without going into details." He's like, "No." And I had my medical records on my hand, on my lap. And I said, I could just, cause at the time too, I was really like tired, weak. I just can't wait to seek help. Couldn't
Yeah.
wait to get to Canada. And then eventually when I got there, they helped, they get me to a certain level. But the cough now, they, it was like, they didn't understand where it was coming from. And then they was telling me I had fuel and stuff. They test me for whatever. I didn't have COVID at the time. I didn't have COVID, but eventually I ended up getting it, like
Sure.
whatever. But and when I did get it, and then I keep telling the doctors, I don't care what they say, that was the same feeling I had
Sure.
before it got major. That's what I tell people. COVID was already here, like,
Yeah.
and
I,
I
I
don't
agree.
know.
I agree because
I don't know
I
how to
believe,
really to think it, but with the
yeah, I
doctors I
believe
say,
it
oh
because
no, you would have been I say I don't know. I think God got something is out there is keeping me alive because how is it I managed to survive like when you say people die from this or die from that and
right, right,
like
right.
however I really had a bad chronic cough. Like I couldn't talk
Mhm.
without coughing and wheezing.
Right.
And eventually things got worse to me, electric shocks.
Mm.
So here comes, is first they said it was pendulitis.
Mm-hmm. Mm.
Okay? Then the lumps they did biopsy and stuff. And so it was released to the lupus, and it's a calcification with the fat and calcium or something like that they were saying. And then so I left with these scars from the different biopsies because they had to remove, because first I did one in Anguilla, then I did two in Canada.
Okay.
So, well, I started getting electric pains. When I say pains, and I never experienced it before because they would wake me up in my sleep. And then one time I was crying so badly, like I couldn't handle it. And I keep taking the painkillers and I keep taking it and I keep taking it. And
Right.
I text my sister and I told her, well, she's not my blood sister, but I call her my sister. She's my cousin. I
Right.
told her, I said, I can't handle this no more. I don't like this pain. It don't make sense. I'm living like this with this pain. No matter how much pills I take, it's not stopping. It's like I'm sleepy and then it's hurting and I'm just like screaming, but it's like, and at the time I was staying, the lady, the situation, their mother was in a hospital.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know what happened, but the brother got a message from my sister
Mm-hmm.
saying to check on me. And when he did, I wasn't responding well. And he saw the pills and the bottles, and I ended up in a hospital. And then when I did come somewhat aware that I'm there in a hospital,
Right.
they thought I was trying to kill myself.
Oh no.
And yeah, and And all I was, and then even though I woke up, when I think I started to scream again, I was telling him I'm in pain, I'm in pain, I'm hurting, and I was crying and crying, and I keep jumping and jumping because like it was this shock keep thinging at me, and I was screaming like something is wrong, like, and the burning in my legs, it was like this pain coming like pulse, and one of the nurses thinking like she said I'm going to withdrawals, like, because she thought I was a crackhead.
Wow.
Yeah, and like I was, and there was another nurse defending me, you know.
Wow.
Hail after that nurse, by the way. And she whispered in my ears and she said, I have lupus too. I understand what you're going through.
Wow.
And when she said that, I just hold on and tell them, please don't leave me here. They don't care about me. Don't leave me here and
Oh my
stuff. And
God.
like, yeah, like, cause they had me with, I was on a stretcher and they couldn't give me certain medication because I already took like a dose of whatever I took to at the time, painkillers and stuff, different type of pills, killers and medication. I can't even remember all of them, but anyhow, then I end up in a room because now they think I'm
Right. Right.
crazy, like I want to kill myself. So, and then when they explain, and then uh I had to explain. Then they had like psychiatrists and people coming to me, and I said I did not want to kill myself. I just wanted the pain to stop.
Yeah. 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 Understandable.
And at the time, I was just desperate. Like I just didn't care. I just wanted to stop. I was like, it don't make no sense. I'm living and going through
Mm.
this pain. Like I just rather be dead. That's what I was to tell her. So they kept me there for a bit, and I spent my birthday again at the time
Mm.
in a hospital because when I had that same thing when I was back with myself,
Right.
and then I ended up spending my birthday in a hospital in Canada, and that was so depressing until my best friend she came and cheered me up with a cupcake and you
Yeah.
know bring
Yeah.
tears to my eyes, but it was so lonely, really lonely.
Yeah.
Then the doctor came to me and they were talking about certain treatment which cost thousands of dollars in Canada until when I had to see my doctor, she said to me, Norlesha, why are you spending so thousands of dollars on these treatment and you're a British citizen? And I was
Oh,
like,
wow.
she's like, you could get better health care
Mm.
in the UK. And I was like, I hear something like that, like, but then who the heck am I gonna go to in the UK?
Right. Right.
So, and then I was just like, that's like far. Like, what the hell? Like, hell no. I ain't going up there. And I said, so much ingredients up there. Well, I don't want to be up there. Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
and then the stories I heard, I was just like, no, you
Mm.
know. Then I end up in a depression mode when I got out of the hospital, crying a lot, miss my boyfriend, want to go home. But, during the COVID, there was still the
Yeah.
rules and stuff.
Yeah.
And my cousin, he said to me, he had called me, he from America.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we were talking and I was telling him how I felt because he was a cousin that used to cheer me up and everything, love him to death. And he said, Cuz, why don't you just come, relax? And he used to make jokes, say, oh, you know what you need? Your body missing sex. You just need a good piece of sex. Where's your boyfriend? Like, and like say stuff like that. Like, and like I said, he used to cheer me up. So I was excited to go and meet him.
Mm-hmm.
Plus, I wanted to work on a product line from
Okay.
for long years now, and I was supposed to meet up with somebody in New York about it. But being that they were living nearby, they said they would have picked me up from the airport, and then we'd have discussed whatever, and then we would have head over to Atlanta.
Mm-hmm.
However, let
Mm-hmm.
me tell you, I was just so disappointed on the whole trip
Mm-hmm.
because I basically didn't enjoy myself
Right.
and I didn't get nothing done
Yeah. Yeah.
because I was hospitalized
Mm.
in Atlanta
Mm.
twice.
Twice.
And now, yeah,
Ugh.
twice. The first time I was told, "Oh, you're in America. You don't have nothing to worry about. You'll be all right," you know? And I felt good about that till I didn't get better. And I mean, it was so bad. Like, it was so bad. My uncle had to get me a walker.
Mm.
And the way my cousin house was, I couldn't be upstairs no more. I felt like his wife wasn't comfortable with me there like anymore because she did broke down and said to me, Norlesha, I don't want I have your cousin is the one that's working. I don't want him to get sick. And I
Mm.
have kids. And when she's telling me this, I'm looking at her like, I'm not contagious,
Right.
you know?
Right. Yeah.
But she was, you could look at her like she was scared because I felt like wherever I sit, they don't want to be like that spot. And not
Yeah.
only that, they were telling me it would have been better out of state, like stay downstairs and get better, and stay where I be like that way.
Yeah. Not having
And
anyone to tell about it at
whenever
all.
I get, and whenever I get a little better, I go upstairs. And till one time, I don't know what happened after I came out of hospital. I was so good. I took my having fun with the kids, everything. And just like that, 1 week, and I was supposed to fly out now to the UK for the first time. And I got sick, and this time it was worse. And I
Mm.
remember calling my cousin. I was so scared, and I said, calling his name. I said, I think I'm gonna die. Something is wrong with me. And he like, don't say that. And then he said, where is he? Call his wife and said, I called my uncle. Well, one of my uncles, I should say, that I was close to, who's like a dad to me. And I guess he made the call to the wife and my his son wife. Then they said, we're gonna take you to the clinic, to the doctor. They took me,
Mm-hmm.
and this would have been like the second time I'm going back to the hospital. So when I got there, they was like, "Oh my God, but you were here like a couple weeks ago, and you still have the same symptoms, but you're worse." And I
Mm.
was like, "What symptom?" And they say these names that I never heard of,
Mm-hmm.
and I like so weak, could barely breathe. And then they were like, "You can't go home. We gotta you gotta go to the hospital." And
Right.
I was like,
Wow.
"Oh, okay." So my cousin was like, so like he like, "No, no, no, we cannot. You can't take her. She has to stay here. We have to call the ambulance." And I was like, "What?" And I'm panicking.
Right. Of course.
And then not only that, at the same time they said, "Bring the oxygen, like for her." And then
Wow.
bringing it. I was extremely. It
Yeah.
was so bad. Like I couldn't walk from here to here. I needed help. Like I was out of breath. And ambulance came for me. I was scared. My cousin did what he could to cheer me up, and it did work. And he stayed with me all through
Mm.
till when they put me in a room again, and which is something I will thank him for. I'm grateful for these type of cousins that I have because they are like brothers to me.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I wish God could bless them.
Oh.
Like, anyways, I ended
Yeah.
up in the hospital
We
again,
always,
same hospital.
we always need
And
those.
that's when they told me, huh?
What did they tell you? Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I had the pneumonia came back. I still had it. It got worse. And I had sepsis, infection. So they put me in
Wow.
a different type of room where nobody couldn't. When the doctors and nurses came in, they come in all
Yeah.
covered down and stuff. And then I couldn't feel when I want to pee.
Wow.
So pee was like, and I remember one nurse in Atlanta. She used to be mad. Oh,
Mm.
like she snapped at me and I crying. I said, I didn't know. But she would like, they would just change me and it happened. I was like, I didn't know. I couldn't tell. you
Yeah.
know. And
Wow.
they said I had this infection, and it was, anyways, my flight got canceled twice. Not canceled, but
Yeah.
um
Move back. Yeah.
paused. The first time, the changes wasn't bad. It was like 100 or something like that. I can't remember.
Mm-hmm.
But the second time, it was like a whole 900 and something
Oh,
another US.
oh my goodness.
Yeah, to get to the UK.
Oh.
Just to change to put the other date. And I tell my uncle, whether I sick or not, I catching that plane, you know.
Yeah.
When I got out of the hospital, whatever day that was, that same week, I was gone.
Yeah.
However, when I land in the UK, now this would be my last year's situation when things got bad.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, the Monday I arrived,
Right.
the Friday I'm in a hospital.
Mm.
Okay,
Mm.
they said the same thing. I had pneumonia, my lupus is active, and I have this infection.
Mm-hmm.
Then I was there for like 3 weeks,
Mm.
3 or 4 weeks, something like that. Got out. The goal was to go to London Bridge Hospital
Mm-hmm.
because I was told they had this cure,
Oh,
this thing that put medication that they help people with lupus and put them into remission for such a long time. They never had it. So I just was dreaming of this day. Gone
right.
there, sick. I didn't,
Mm-hmm.
because when I got out of the hospital, I wasn't fully well. I was walking with a cane and stuff. And the doctor said to me, and I still have these statements, the record. He gave me this paper and he starts saying, okay, you have to do the blood work. And I was like, the blood work again? He said, yeah. So you're going to leave here and you're going to go right there by the next door. We do everything here.
Right.
And I was like, oh, okay. So he said, but you got to go pay first because they're not going to do anything unless they get it. And I was like, oh, okay, sure. I take the paper and I look at it and I see these weird numbers and I say, uh, what is this numbers? Like, I don't understand. He's like, oh, it's a thousand and da, 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 whatever pounds. My heart jumped. Like, what?
Right.
Oh, what do you mean? I thought it's supposed to be free. He
Right.
laughed and he said, I'm a doctor at this hospital and not even me get tempted here.
Oh, wow.
He's like, you don't, then he said, you don't have NHS? And I was like, what is that? And then he's like, where you from? Again, and then I just like explain.
Right.
And at this time now, I done crying. I panicking because everything now doesn't sound like, I getting some bad news now. Now this ain't gonna happen. I'm not gonna get this job. Because I remember down paying, I paid like 200 and I think it was 275 pounds, I believe it was. I can't remember. To book this appointment at this hospital.
Right.
And because it has a lupus section there, whatever. So, long story short, after breaking down, make few calls in Canada, and the doctor was so nice. He
Mm.
stayed with me with like I would say an hour, trying to organize help for me while communicating with the people, my guardians, I should say, in Canada, because the lady I used to live with, daughter is a nurse. Like,
Okay.
well, she's a doctor now, I should say. But
Mm-hmm.
so they used to try to. They were like the only type of guardians that know what's going on with me. And eventually, that doctor booked an appointment for me to go to the hospital back where I was staying in
Mm-hmm.
England. And I didn't even, my body didn't even wait. I crashed, ambulance had to come for me again, and I
Mm.
end up there.
Oh.
However, no, that stay was the worst because apparently they started saying they're gonna give me this new drug, but they need
Mm.
approval from this hospital to that. Takes a while. However, This nice doctor, he was my rheumatologist, said he would be the one dealing with me now.
Right.
And they all were so friendly and nice to me. The team, I should say, some of them, I should say. And till that 1 week, he said to me, I'm leaving you here. I won't be back the Monday because it's a bank holiday.
Okay.
And I'll be back the Tuesday. So, but nobody, you're not supposed to leave. You can't get discharged because I leave instructions. This is what
Right.
he said. And they're gonna continue giving you whatever the olive was giving me, and you will get this new drug. The first dose you will get in a hospital because
Mm-hmm.
here where you be in this room because they want to monitor you.
Right.
And then depends on how it goes, you will be able to discharge you, and then you will come back and you'll be an outpatient to get the second dose. So he explained to me, and this drug would have been an infusion called rituximab. I think
Yeah.
if I said the name
Rituximab.
wrong already, but
Yeah.
rituximab.
Rituximab. Yeah.
Yeah. However, the next day, a nurse was this nurse. She had to be the head of the other nurse. Wanted to know why is it I was still there, and they think I should get discharged. And I said, well, I was feeling pretty okay, like hype in a way, but sleepy a lot, drugged out a lot, because a lot of times I couldn't remember was well, but I could hear everything that's going on, like people business, who's this and who they can't stand, like the gossip. Like I was like, damn, I thought they say on the island, the people on my island gossip and this and that and chat your
Right.
business,
Right.
but they do that here too. Like it was crazy. So I was like, but wow, like it was crazy. So not my business, but a lot of the time they were loud. However, I used to tune into my phone, connect to the Wi-Fi to watch Netflix because it's like watching my. At the time, I was obsessed with Queen of the South.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, this lady said, the nurse said, I'm there and they need a room. A pregnant lady. I don't know the situation, but all I can remember is pregnant lady. And then I remember officers and immigration.
Wow.
And then I thought at the time, I thought immigration was coming for me. And
Right.
I had my backpack, my stuff at that hospital. So I always had my passport. So I came out in my gown and I said to the nurse, I'm a British citizen. Why the thing? And one of the nurses said, she's so nosy. Go back to your room. Like,
Wow.
but something when I get act doing this, I going through something. I know what it is, but in my mind, I thinking these people, you know, uh, don't want me here or something.
Yeah.
Then they come there and they said, you you gotta go. And
Wow.
I was like, but where am I gonna go? Because
Right.
at the time where I was going, the girl would have gone out of town because she know now I'm in the hospital, I in good hand, and then she was aware that I supposed to go on this treatment, and I would have been in the hospital for another week or two.
Yeah. Right. Right.
So, and I was talking she stuff, but we get to that. Anyhow, I eventually they put me out.
Mm-hmm.
I end up on the street.
Oh my goodness.
I don't know what quite happened, but apparently at the time I get help from somebody in a hospital, which was a black guy. He gave me a number. He asked me if I was homeless or something. I said, yeah, I don't have nowhere to go. And they said, but why the hospital let you here? I was like in a lobby
Right.
area. It was really
Mhm.
late. Then a woman, one of the ladies who used to help me, she used to come in with the food and stuff. She saw
Mhm.
me And I remember being weak, and she said, "What's wrong? You Why are you crying?" And I said, "I have nowhere to go. I don't know where to go."
Mm,
And she said, "Are you hungry?" I said, "No, I'm thirsty." She said,
mm,
I could give you some money for water." And so so I was like, "No, I was trying to tell her, I don't need the money. I have the car. She could just like get it for me."
mm-hmm.
And she's like, "No, no, it's okay." And then this lady, she's shouting out, and you could tell she works there.
Right.
And she's like, "No, don't give her money."
Right.
And I was like, I tried to tell her I wasn't asking for money, but the lady defended me, and she said she wasn't asking me for money. She
Right.
didn't want it. She wanted water. And then that woman said, "I'll go get her the water." And she did. She
Mm,
said, "You want it cold or hot?" And I said hot because at the time it was cold. So, and I think she must have felt guilty because it was like, how dare she thinking like, I think she thought it was a bum or something. I mean, I did look like one at the time too.
but still.
And um, she got it for me, and the number the guy gave me, I called it off the phone I had, and she was telling me what bus to take. She told me there's a bus stop right out the hospital, and
Mm-hmm.
I was like, she said, "Take it, and it'll take you here." And I remember just no, when I get on the bus, I don't have access. I don't have the what do you call it, the GPS, because I
Right.
don't have Wi-Fi,
Right.
and the phone that I had didn't had a plan. So I got on the bus and I asked, I'm getting off at this street, and the driver was like, which what's the number, like where's like, till he let me off, and he said here. And then the
Mm,
lady, she was calling my phone to see if I was okay. I was like, "I can't find you." And just like that,
mm-hmm.
I don't remember much stuff because till she explained to me. She
Mm,
said, "Norlesha, you don't remember?" She said, "Oh my God, I was so mad at that hospital for letting you out. You are a mess." She said, "You came to me, you were damp, you had a fever, you had a bag of medication on you, you were trembling, you couldn't walk." She said, "You don't remember us putting you in a wheelchair, pushing you to a hotel?" And then she said she knew I was sick because then I started hallucinating.
oh
Yeah.
wow. Wow.
So apparently, I thought the FBI was after me,
Oh
and I was a drug dealer. I had fake passport,
wow.
and I uh, I have a prostitution ring,
Wow.
and I was being charged for being prostituting. And
Wow.
and the hotel I was staying, I couldn't get the door open, so I think they had me locked in, captured,
Gotcha.
and
Gotcha.
like it's the things that I was told how I was acted is unbelievable.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
but
But
the only proof,
considering you had all that medication in you, that probably was that was doing it all in
yeah.
itself.
But eventually the hotel, the ambulance came for me,
Mm-hmm.
and then I got back to the hospital, and it got worse.
Oh my gosh.
So I thought, they said, I had a sister that was there. I hearing her name. They said I keep calling my sister and accusing them for holding her. And
Mm,
I'm telling them she didn't steal the medication. She didn't steal the drugs. What are you talking about?
wow.
She's what? And she just had a broken hand. Like, why are you doing this? Why are you guys doing this to us? And then apparently the same sister, she told me, and this was told to me after the fact.
Right.
Okay, she said, "You were so crazy." That's what she said, like raw, like she's like, "I was on the phone with you, videotape, like we were on WhatsApp video,
Mm-hmm.
and you cussing the nurses, and you telling me they're giving you blood." and the blood got AIDS in it and
Oh my goodness.
COVID and disease in it, and trying to give it to you because you're black. And then she said, I told you to turn the camera, let me see it. And when she see it, it like she says, sis, it's clear what you talking about. And then I start attacking her, saying, you working for them. Why are you doing this to me? Why start cussing at her. But
Mm.
she said, she remembered the nurses said, they said to me, they're gonna take something bloods for me. And then I asked, what is this for? And they said, one is to check for the surface infection.
Right, right.
Next one to see if there's HIV blood, and then the other one something to do with my lupus or whatever. She said that this is what my sister said. She remember hearing him say. And then when she had called back, I started saying and giving me these diseases, like, and she was there. And then later on, I called her saying, the FBI is after her, then got me locked up. They're not gonna let me out. They're gonna hang me. This thing, like, oh my God. It's,
So when you were going through all of this, did the doctors ever talk to you about central nervous system lupus, or was that something that was in their mind at that time, that they started talking to you that you might have some CNS lupus that deals with that whole hallucinations, psychosis and things of that nature?
well, whatever the doctor told me during the stages, I wouldn't have remembered. I
Right.
only know what they told me after, because that's when they said you went into lupus psychosis.
Right.
And
right.
I was like, well, what is that? They said, then they told me, remember, the lupus was attacking your kidney. It was affecting your brain, because when we did the MRI, you had a white mass. They named it now something or another on it.
Sure.
And then you were on these high doses of medication. When the hospital let you out, you were still in this what you call it?
Psychotic episode.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I was still ill, because then I developed a fever while I went outside.
Sure.
And came back, it was worse. So it's like I had all these craziness back on. And then he said, you was a difficult case, because he said I had no other choice. I had to put you on these amount to get all these things under control, because your kidney was giving a problem. You were going through this, and your lupus was here, and they had the infection and the pneumonia. And he said it was a lot what was going on with you. He said to the one point he thought he would have lost me.
Wow.
Then he started asking me stuff, like if I remember. Like, no. I said I couldn't remember. When he thought about the passports and stuff, I said, oh yeah, the immigration was coming for me, right? And he's like, no.
Right.
No immigration was coming for you. And I was like, oh, but I swear so there was things that I couldn't understand.
Right.
But it was just
happened. Yeah.
Yeah. Until, because that was the longest I've ever been in the hospital, by the way. Because I actually, I tried to escape. I ran.
Really?
I started thinking the government of my island don't want me back.
Oh.
Then I thought Canada didn't want me.
Yeah.
I called the police.
Wow.
While I'm in a hospital to come and save me. This is when I was in my psychosis.
Yeah.
And they didn't know none of this when I was told. And I think the most embarrassing part, one of the most embarrassing part, is when the lady I stay with, when she came to visit me, she said I went crazy stripping off. When people came to visit us, I stripped off and said, please save me, save me. They have chips in me. They have chip in me. Save me, save me. And I started run, like, and they got me at the bus stop, and that was embarrassing.
Yeah.
And then security starts staying by my bed. So it was so that I don't escape, because at the time I thought, like, they got me there to kill me, or
Yeah.
Yeah. So
So how did they end up getting that under control? I know the sepsis was taking over your body, and that had to be difficult on your physical body, and mentally it was really messing with your brain. So what was what did they use? What did they do to get you to a point where you would be okay, that you were able to be here today and talk about the story?
well, I know for starters, they did end up giving me another type of med because whoever it was,
Mm-hmm.
they how I remember is there was something to do with they was trying to debate if I had schizophrenia
Right, right.
and
Okay.
stuff like that. And then it was trying out certain meds that I were taking and then checking on me all the time.
Gotcha.
And then I had an appetite too. But apparently long afterwards that one of the medications was making me eat
Right,
like
right. Mm-hmm.
and stuff and I was drinking a lot. But whatever it is they give me, it took a while because I was in a hospital for like I believe over whew, almost like maybe almost 2 months to
Oh wow.
say.
Wow.
Yeah, because I would have to ask. I can't remember. I would have to look on the papers actually, but I was there for a month.
Wow.
Either it's 2 months, almost 2 months, and it was depressing when I really got better because when the girl visit me, come to tell me what happened, uh, I was scared. And then another thing, I locked myself out of my. I had I had two, well, three phones. One was a girl. She lent me to me for the UK to use for the UK.
Mm-hmm.
The other one was my iPhone for Canada. I couldn't get into that. So apparently, she said it, she witnessed me changing the password because I thought somebody hacked into my phone. And
Sure.
like when I was in my
Yeah.
psychosis. So now when I was back to normal, I couldn't get back into the phone.
Mm.
And I couldn't go to a company here who could have helped me because I was in a situation where I couldn't remember my password. I couldn't like
You're
I don't
out
know
of
how
it.
to explain
Yeah.
it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, you're out of it.
I was desperate. However, I
Okay.
had a Samsung phone which would have been my Anguilla phone. Turns out I had access to that, but it was cracked. So I asked her, how did it get back? She said, you don't remember when you thought that there was the CIA or whatever after you was cracked trying to see if the chip was in there and they took it from you and that's why that one gets saved and I was like, okay, I don't remember. But anyhow, because that phone you cannot take the back off to get to
Right.
the chip. You need the pin to dig it in. But I
Mm-hmm.
wasn't, I was out of it.
Right.
So when I did, long story short, for my birthday again, because I got out of hospital a few days before my birthday, but I still wasn't walking good. And so I spent it home alone because the girl had to go away for my birthday. But she was nice enough to order food in for me. So
Mm-hmm.
I ended up going to Canada eventually when she got back. And when I got back, believe it or not, the first thing I did when I got on after airport, because by the time I reached there, it would have been, I think it would have been 4, 5 o'clock in Canada time.
Mm-hmm.
So I went straight to the mall where I went and get my phone and because I still there, the phone there, and because I didn't have a SIM or anything, because I apparently took it out and hid it and stuff.
Right.
And by the way, an embarrassing thing that one doctor told me, they said, don't you remember when we walked into the room, you put the SIM for your phone on your panty line and you stuck it on and you took it with you.
Wow. Wow.
Because I was like, why would I do that? They said I had this whole thing in my
Right.
head thinking
Right.
that, yeah. Anyhow, they when I went downstairs to Virgin Mobile, because iPhone said it couldn't help me without the SIM or whatever. And if anything, it would have been stored on uh my iCloud or whatever.
Hmm.
I was excited. Went downstairs, get the thing. Thankfully, they didn't even charge me the $10 that they normally do. I
Right.
felt lucky that day. Went upstairs, got the ISO to help me out, got in. But then when I got in, I seen the WhatsApp loading. I'm like nervous because I was told that I attacked people and I called people and I threatened people and I also tell people that uh, I'm being captured. I've been like stuff like that. So I'm like, who the hell? Like, and then turns out, because I told, I have few government officials on my phone.
Hmm.
Yeah. So I must have
Yikes.
attacked few of them, I guess. So I went to see what I said to them, but when I went, it was clear. So I didn't understand why is it clear. But then it God said to me, "Yeah, you so thought your phone was hacked that you didn't want people to see whatever messages." And I was like, "But that don't make sense." She said, "Well, you are in your crazy world. I don't know
Yeah.
what's what."
Yeah.
And then I go and I see like my best friend messages, some people messages, and I looked at it and I was like, I start to some I cry, some I laugh
Yeah. Yeah.
because it was ridiculous. Like it was like, and the reason why I cry is because before all of this, I got a call from a sister, another sister, and
Hmm.
then this other sister that said to me, the one that's not blood sister, she said to me, "You won't believe what your big sister said about you." And when she told me what she said, it broke my heart. And then I explained to another sister, and then she said, "Yeah." She said certain things, and then to hurt it to this day, it hurts, because I did look up to that sister, and here I was when I remember coming out of hospital, I was so excited to like call her first, which I did to tell her, "Oh my God, you won't believe what happened to me," and stuff. And I remember her saying to me when I asked her, did DJ call you and school you or did I take anything? And she said, "Huh, you don't want to know what you said to me." She said, "But anyhow, yeah." And I was like, "So what did I say?" She said, "Don't worry about it.
All right.
You're better now." And that was it. Not knowing, I
Mhm.
must have told her some
Yeah.
crazy stuff,
Yeah.
which I said, explained to you about the whole passport stuff, whatever, and whatever. And then apparently I had a follow up with I cussed my mother as well.
Wow.
And attacked her and whatever and say whatever. She didn't want nothing to do with me.
Mm.
So, but that was then. However, I was still had that with my sister, and it was. It's just that I'm gonna say this straight up. I'm not gonna even gonna sugarcoat anything. But all my life,
Hmm.
I'm the only child my dad have for my mom.
Gotcha.
Okay, so my dad had other kids that are raised up with. They
Mm.
belongs to the same mother, but I was the closest to my grandma because they had their mother and I only had my grandma.
Right.
And when I get the opportunity to talk to my sister or even know that I had a big sister, by the
Hmm.
way, I have seven sisters in total,
Wow.
and I was excited and happy.
Hmm.
And I remember even when I went to high school, there was certain girls used to bully me about my sister, and I used to go back and tell my big sister.
Right.
So when I heard the things from this cousin, the friend, and then this other sister tell me what this big sister say, it stabbed me like I don't know how to say it.
Hmm.
But I didn't understand why she thought at first she thought I was faking it. Then she
Mm.
thought I wanted attention.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, and
Mm.
All I could think of is who the hell would do all them crazy shit
Right. Right.
to get attention.
Right. Right.
Like, and then the part where there was other stuff that it was just like I did not understand. It didn't make no sense.
Yeah.
And then not only that, she had believed some of the stuff that I said.
Right. Yeah.
And I was like, and then she actually believed that I had AIDS as well. And
Wow.
I mean, AIDS these days now is like, yeah, whatever. If you have it, you have it. There's treatments now for it.
Right.
However, that was never my case. But because I was in my psychosis, I thought that the hospital gave me that. Like I
Yeah.
was like I had it, you
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
to the point where I remember when I got better in after hearing the witnesses saying these things that I said, I was like, so doc, do I have it? They were like, no, you don't.
Right.
And I was like, but why would I say that? And he said,
Oh,
you
right.
said all kind of things. He
Yeah.
said, you even had fights within us. And I think the most sad part is when I kick, pushed a pregnant nurse. And it
Um,
still made me feel bad, but
that you didn't have a
it
control over.
wasn't my fault.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, and they said that I was talking to my grandma. Every time I go to the bathroom, I say my grandma's there and stuff.
Yeah.
And yeah, but
So that your whole story is just so compelling. It's like everything that you've gone through has been so big, so big. I don't it just makes me feel so good that you're here today to share that. Because you know what? There are some people out here that are going through what you went through. And it's so important that they know that they're not alone. And for you to be able to sit here and to talk about it and to, even laugh at yourself a little bit because
now I could laugh.
you know
Now
what
I could laugh because it's like,
it's like you're a walking miracle. You're a
it,
walking miracle. But look, can you believe we've been on here almost 2 hours? Believe that?
yeah.
I
But
love it because
after last year, I'm now diagnosed with, I have my kidneys is at stage 4. I have lupus vasculitis now.
okay.
I have the scars now on my body, so that's what that means secure. However, I would like to say thanks to my my boyfriend who been sticking up with me even when I went ooh ooh, because
Too.
I attack him too.
Yeah. He's a good
But yeah, and
he's a good man.
yeah, and the family that still stick up for me and was
Yeah.
there for me and still checked in on me and still give me that love.
Oh,
And no, me and my mom now talking again, because she
yeah.
now understand.
Yeah.
So, but
And you
my
and
sister, I
even you understand. So that's important as well. You know,
yeah,
you understand that it's not you, it's something that you cannot control, you know.
hmm
So I'm so happy that you're here. I'm happy that you were able to share some of your story. And I'm so proud of the fight in you.
yes, me too. And oh, the government official that I cussed out,
Uh-oh.
he understood after too.
Okay,
Well,
good.
when I went visit home, I saw him in a duck. I didn't want him to see me, and he came to the car, and he's like, "Why you hot?" And I was like, "Oh my God," because he's like, "Oh please, I knew what you was going through." And when he said, I was like,
Oh,
like
goodness.
I felt it was like a ease because it was like it's so embarrassing to like face the people that I don't even, especially the ones that don't want to tell me what I say to them.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, but right now I tell them to just let me know because I want to write about it and
Yeah.
share it,
Yeah.
because there's something. And I look up into lupus psychosis too. I even went on Facebook and I was like, yo, there's
It's
a
real.
whole page for that. And I
It's
was like, and
real.
I read up on it and I was like, okay, all right. So I'm not the only one that went through this.
There, see what I mean? See,
Yeah. And then I
it's
think that would make me felt like I'm not alone either.
Yes.
So, but
So
I'm amazed that I'm here.
I'm so
my
that
my
you are.
hair grew back so fast and thick, and I'm walking. I'm back in the gym a bit, not all the time. I did my retoxima treatment last week, so it had me. Remember we were supposed to
Yeah,
do
we were
this, and I
talking about
had
last
to.
week. Yeah.
Yeah, which is
Yeah.
a good thing we did because I was drained. Like,
Yeah.
and today is like the first time I actually really went out and
Well,
yeah,
I'm so glad to be in contact with you. I'm so happy that you are here today to share your story and to let people know that they are not alone. And I know it's about what 8:30 there? 8, 3, 4, 5, about almost 9
uh,
o'clock there, right? So I want to be respectful of your time. But I definitely
actually,
what is
usually I'm still programmed to
oh Canadian time?
uh, yeah, and it's like even if I fall asleep, I still
Yeah.
wake up and stuff like that. And then my boyfriend to do this type of work where he dive and thing in the night. So I do get. I'm like my grandmother, worried. Only to when he send me that message to say, "Babes, I'm home. I'm
Yeah.
home." And when I see that, if
Yeah.
I fall asleep and I get up to go pee, I
Yeah.
just look at my phone with the light bright in my eye, and if I see that message, and I'm like, okay, I go back to sleep.
Well,
Like
you
that's
tell
it.
that man that I'm proud of him for sticking with you, and I'm so proud of the fight in you. Thank you for coming on.
Yeah, he still stuck with me, even though people discourage him.
Well, yeah, they could discourage him all they want. He's with you for life, it seems.
Yeah.
So thank you so much, Norlesha. I so appreciate you coming on and sharing your story. Your story is so
Yeah.
compelling, and I'm so proud of the fight in you. And anytime you want to share again, just let me know.
Okay. Thank you for having me.
Not a
So,
problem. Not a problem. Thank you, everybody who stuck with us. Norlesha, we did 2
okay. Love you guys. Hope
hours.
I didn't put you all to sleep.
No, that's okay. All right, guys. So thank you for tuning in, and we will be back another day with another Lupus Warrior. Norlesha, stay right there. I'll be right back to you, okay? Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. We'll talk to you another time. Bye-bye.